Once again, you're going to head up Sisyphus Hill. And I have one requirement, one demand I would like to make of you. And that is, don't do what I say. I would like you to listen to me. I have really interesting thoughts that you won't get from most people. Don't do what anyone says would be even a better way to expand that, but that's up to you how you do it. But don't lose your own personal sovereignty, your own personal freedom, especially not from people who are claiming they're going to give you that freedom or sell it to you, which a lot of people are doing. Even within supposedly liberty-minded communities, they're usually trying to sell you something. There's land scams where people want you to pay for their stuff and their land. Well, land ownership itself is another whole topic. But in your rebellion against that, also don't be a dumbass. It's going to be a long way from where we're at to get to actual freedom. And it's a complicated topic. It's nearly impossible, but you don't lose freedom if you make an agreement with someone. So let's say I was let's go with an interpersonal relationship, something I've been avoiding for some time now, because most interpersonal relationships even are this cool tree here. Look how weird it is. It's really pretty. Did you look at that because I told you to? Because you wanted to, because it's cool looking. Don't prop up your supposed leaders as being in control of you, and don't disavow your own responsibility to own yourself. You own you. We have to make the individual be sovereign. That doesn't mean that they get to do anything they want to you. And everybody's going to try and wiggle you in a position where they're abusive. I want to work with people again. And the only way I can figure out how to do that is with social agreements that we're voluntarily making for mutual benefit. And we lose freedom as soon as we make an agreement. If, I lend someone a tool, which I recently did, and I make an agreement with them when it's going to come back, there's sort of an implied agreement that it'll be working when it comes back, but what if it breaks? Who's responsible for that? Well, we don't have a plan for that. We didn't make an agreement that was that detailed. And I really shouldn't even enter into that kind of contract without it being pretty spelled out, because I could get screwed over. They're in no danger of getting screwed over. Because even if they stole it, I'm not going to escalate it to violence. And violence is at the base of pretty much all social interaction. You've seen even among couples where people have managed to figure the couple out in a way that benefits them and the other person is ultimately oppressed, and that relationship will then fall apart. Often because they didn't actually know what they were agreeing to in detail and have a matching agreement. So how do we get from, being an island, being fully autonomous, needing no one? It's pretty ridiculous pretty fast when you start to think about that. To working well in a cohesive society where we're protecting the shared commons, the earth itself, the environment around us. We're not attacking people far away. We are not oppressing each other nearby. And that's impossible right now because all the social structures you're surrounded by are designed to use and oppress you. And you are involved with the oppression of other people. If you follow a leader, aren't you responsible for what that leader does? You gave them your support. They use that to kill and hurt other people, perhaps benefiting you. But at the expense of your fucking soul, I don't believe in souls, but at the expense of your moral dignity, your moral goodness. To the degree anything matters, but lots of people pretend that they're ethical and good, but then immediately, just like when I was talking about the prisoner's dilemma and stuff, there's this massive desire, need, potential benefit to burning other people, and that occurs all the time. So we want to set up longer relationships with better agreements that actually will work for us, where everybody wins. That seems like a just hippie dream, doesn't it? Well, it isn't going to happen magically. And there's a lot of systems and people and cultures that specifically are designed to make sure that never occurs. You can't break free. All your programming is designed to enslave you and to enslave others. It's really a fucked up position we're in. I still have this hippie notion that we can get out of it by defining our way out of it, by making the hidden unhidden, by exposing how things actually work, exposing corruption in every system that you live under, by not having faith in leaders very much, but instead having faith in agreements that people actually follow. And given that government doesn't follow law, they profit immensely off of their promises to you, and then screw you over if anytime they wish to, and will do that for whatever, there's just 1,000 excuses why they have to, declare that the law that you used to put them in power, that you supported, that they then pervert that, and it's not worth it to you to then kill them because you don't want problems. And I remember when I was a kid, my dad, who actually had a sociology degree, mentioned that any power structure will work to support itself, to grow its power, to increase its control. That's the nature of power. And we have to somehow break out of that system and not be part of creating it ourselves. If you think about a community setting, you can imagine that if you have a vacuum of power, if no one was in control, if we were all just sovereign individuals respecting each other, some people are going to come into that system and try and take control. I've seen it happen in my own life. And people do it in very subtle ways, sometimes very attractively so. Danger. Don't have attractive leaders. Have attractive principles and social contracts which you follow and enforce. And they don't have to be just one. It can be different ones in different spaces at different times. You may not have the same values as you get older as you did when you were young. So you may want to do different things. Fucking hill. Okay, I love this hill. It's a wonderful hill. This hill is a metaphor for life. You only get to go up it. And then you're at the end, and you die. So hopefully you do that well. I like to see my life as a sculpture, where you don't get to undo it. You don't get to go backwards. You may be able to fuck up. You may be able to, as you're sculpting a piece of granite, you may be able to accidentally chop off the wrong piece, and you have to then change your concept of what options you have now and what you can do. You could fuck up and go to jail. You could hurt someone. One of the reasons I like the idea of redemption. Just because somebody fucks up on one thing does not mean that they are stuck in that path for the rest of their life. Now, they're stuck with their past, yes. We all are. I'm stuck with the sins I've committed, the things I've done that hurt people. And what those are, I may not have full agreement with other people on what they are, but I know that in some cases, both I and the person I injured agree. I did something bad. And in some cases, I wish I could apologize. In some cases, I don't know where those people are at or even how to contact them. But, and I've had overall very positive relations because I think I'm a good guy and I try and do good things. But, I'm still a person. And sometimes it isn't clear. Like, what if I'm in a grouchy mood and I just say a small thing that I don't even mean, that is meaningless to me, but goes deep into someone else and hurts them? That's terrible. And I do feel very regretful for, I call them sins. They're not sins from God, they're sins from me. I think they're sins. I break my own rules. I do the wrong thing. I really hope that each person, you in this case, and me, we're the only people here, just you and me talking, no one else will see this, that we take the personal responsibility to do a full inventory on ourselves and say, well, here's what I did and why, and here's what I think was good or bad, and then make choices from where we're at. You have a limited amount of years left. We're not getting to another planet in any meaningful way, so you can forget about Mars and the moon. Somebody might get to go there someday, more than they have. I mean, how many people have actually been on the moon? Very few. This is the world we got. And you have an ever-shortening number of years you get to do anything good in, to hopefully die with a smile on your face thinking that you were mostly good. You had a positive impact on others. And that's one of the reasons I even create these videos, is because I'm hoping that the kind of thinking I'm doing, the way I'm comparing ideas, the way I'm thinking about stuff is not an attack on you. It's not even personal, okay? It's not just you and me. It's just me saying stuff, and you'll take or leave what you want to. You don't need to write nasty comments about it. I'm not in charge of you. Just ignore me. And tune out a bunch of shit I say if it doesn't apply to you. Even though I'm critical of what civilization is and what we're doing to the planet and ourselves, I don't like to turn that into criticism against the individual, because I want the individual to do that job themselves. You are qualified to be your God and your Satan. You're qualified to, you're the only person who has real power over your actions. Now, of course, your actions are very limited in the context you're in. But don't decide you're a victim and that you then are going to become like the evil person. Can I even talk? God damn it. Because, the worst horrible people in the world have had the justification that they're somehow the victim fighting for freedom and fighting against the evil, when they are the most evil people. We don't have a lot of comic character villains out there who just really want to be horrible. We've got is a bunch of people saying, no, I'm the victim and we are the victim and we're going to hurt the other people because we're the victims. People who say they're anti-racist. Some of the most racist people I've ever met. Actually, I only met a couple actually racist people. Like, full-on, total fucking racists. And they think they're victims. Hitler thought he was a victim. And a lot of other people bought into his story. And they were just protecting themselves after all, right? Let's look at every genocide that's ever occurred. We are the evil. There was a good book I read a long time ago. I don't think I own a copy of it. Called Are We All Nazis? And I don't want to pick on the Nazis too much. It's just one out of many organizations that's gone wildly bad. In fact, you might even know of some closer to you in history and geography than that particular evil group. In fact, you may have paid taxes to them, which you can say you had to do. And I guess in context, maybe you did. But where's your personal responsibility in that? Almost to the top of the hill. Well, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I went into town real quick. Even if it's not comfortable. And if you're all comfortable because you've won, you're rich, you get all the pleasures and consumption you want, and you think that's good, I don't agree. It's amazing, like you look at social media, and so many people who claim that they're so successful are horrible individuals with very terrible values. And they get lots of attention and glory. And people admire them to be against the others. Women against men, men against women. Rich people who think that that means they're good. And that poor people are horrible. Which they're not. Not all. I mean, being either rich or poor doesn't automatically make you good or bad. But I do suggest that rich people especially evaluate themselves and wonder what they can do with their position. I have to do that because I'm land rich. Land rich, cash poor. and I suppose mentally privileged enough to be nuts and frustrated. But I have responsibility, I believe. As a land custodian, I prefer to think of me as a temporary custodian of this land rather than some kind of owner. I mean, I'm fucking temporary as shit. And the older you get, the more you understand that the scale of things we have to look at is very, very long. So that's one of the reasons to study history, although it's really hard to study history because, as they say, history was written by the winners. That's right. It was written by the oppressors in most cases. And what an oppressor is very unclear. One of the arguments against having a peaceful, simple society is that they'll be taken over by somebody else. And that's true. And that's why we should make sure that we train ourselves to be very strong. I think we should have martial arts training for everyone, so that they can't be on a very interpersonal level right around them. They can't be oppressed as easily. How are they going to do up against an organized military? Well, they're going to get killed mostly. So we have to go further than that. We need people to be armed. That's controversial right there. A lot of people have this cult of being weak. I don't see that that's necessarily a good way to go. In fact, it might be a good strategy, but Gandhi was not a pacifist. Gandhi was using the strategy that would work with the limited resources that he had available to him in the face of a massively oppressive empire. It's strategic. That was the strongest position to take. And certainly I think that if you're strong in the way that people don't perceive you as a threat, hopefully because you aren't, then that gives them less justification to attack you. And hopefully you control your own leaders so they don't attack other people, because then they draw you into that. They draw you into conflict that they benefit from. They will kill your sons and daughters. They'll kill them, send them off to kill other people. You might think you'll benefit in some way. I think that's very short-sighted thinking. Short-sighted. We've got to all stand down. Forgive each other for the crimes of the thousands of years past where we've all hurt each other as societies. And all those people who did it are dead, and now we're here. And we should turn ourselves over to the one leader that matters, and that is protecting the commons. Because our biggest failure right now is destroying our shared property, allowing people to destroy it. So your personal actions matter for that, and also what organizations you support and allow to use resources in whatever way. Good luck. This is all so fucked up. Sounds impossible. Poco poco. Gotta do what you can do with what you got. Every dollar you spend is a vote for your way of life. More platitudes, more aphorisms, which in this case I think is a pretty good one. Take some fucking personal responsibility. I'm trying my best. Hopefully I can inspire some other people to make something resembling good decisions in their lives. But I know it's tough for you. But think hard about what I'm saying. Don't believe what I say. Don't follow what I say. Take it to heart. Analyze it. Break it apart. Criticize it. You could certainly do better if you just turned yourself over to the side of evil. Fuck people over a lot. But then guess what? You'll be punished by having to live in a world of evil shitheads. That's your punishment. You will have to live in the world you create around you. Just like I suffer in the world I've created for myself. Living in my green jail where I am the warden for the most part. Not really. More like a refugee from civilization. Well, wish me luck, and I wish you the best of luck. It's going to be hard. Goodbye.